Back. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. You can want love, peace, and stability all day long, but if you're operating from insecurity, fear, or chaos, that's exactly what you'll keep pulling in. Back. It's not the universe being cruel, it's just energy doing what energy does, matching vibration. You attract people who speak the same emotional language as your wounds. Back. That's why the same patterns keep showing up with different faces. It's not bad luck, it's self-awareness calling you out. When you crave love but don't believe you're worthy of it, back. You end up settling for fragments and calling it affection. The problem isn't outside of you, it's within the emotional patterns you refuse to break. You can't manifest calm when your nervous system only recognizes chaos as home. The hardest truth to swallow is that what feels familiar will always feel safe, even if it's toxic. Back. If you grew up in an environment where love came with inconsistency, criticism, or withdrawal, your body learned that instability equals affection. So when someone comes along offering peace, bet your nervous system calls it boring. You push away the healthy and chase the chaotic because that's the emotional rhythm your body knows how to dance to. This isn't weakness, it's programming. Back. Until you understand it, you'll mistake trauma bonds for chemistry. You'll keep chasing the people who trigger your wounds instead of the ones who help you heal them. Awareness is painful, it back. But it's the first step in breaking the cycle of self-sabotage that's been disguised as romance. You can't fake energy. You can wear confidence like a costume, but people will always sense what's beneath it. Back. You attract what your subconscious believes you deserve. That's why you can say you want respect, yet settle for mixed signals. You can talk about wanting commitment, back, yet entertain someone who only gives you half their attention. The gap between your words and your actions reveals your self-worth. Every time you accept less, you reinforce to yourself that less is enough. Back, and the people you meet will mirror that belief right back at you. You don't get what you demand. You get what you allow. And allowing isn't just about what others do to you. Back. It's about what you silently tolerate within yourself. Healing isn't about suddenly attracting perfect people. It's about becoming the kind of person who no longer finds toxicity appealing. Back. When you start valuing your peace over attention, your patterns begin to shift. You realize that being alone isn't punishment, it's preparation. The silence that once scared you becomes sacred. You stop chasing validation and start building self-trust. You stop begging for clarity and start demanding emotional maturity. The version of you that needed saving dies, back. And the version of you that saves yourself is born. You start to realize that love doesn't have to hurt to feel real. It just has to be honest, consistent, and aligned with your healing, not your history. Back. It's not about being too picky or too guarded. It's about being self-aware. Once you've been through enough emotional chaos, peace becomes the ultimate luxury. The problem is, back. You can't recognize peace if your standards are still shaped by pain. The healthy person won't text you all day because they have boundaries. The secure person won't chase you because they're grounded. Back. And if you're used to emotional turbulence, that might feel like disinterest. But that's not rejection. That's reality trying to teach you what balance looks like. The more you heal it back, the more you realize that emotional availability isn't boring, it's brave. And it's something you'll only attract when you embody it yourself. It back. Every toxic relationship you've had is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that your soul is trying to get your attention. Patterns repeat until lessons are learned. Every time you ignore a red flag, you delay your own peace. Every time you compromise your worth for the illusion of love, you reinforce your wounds. You can't heal by pretending you're fine. Back. You heal by asking yourself why you keep needing to prove your value to people who never earned your loyalty in the first place. Back. Sometimes the reason you attract toxicity is because you still believe that love must be earned through suffering. The truth is, it doesn't. Real love isn't transactional, it's reciprocal. Back. Changing what you attract means changing your emotional default settings. That starts with awareness, then accountability, then action. Awareness shows you the pattern, accountability makes you own it, back, and action breaks it. You stop romanticizing potential and start paying attention to patterns. You stop confusing effort with consistency. Back. You stop seeing red flags as challenges and start seeing them as signs to walk away. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The moment you realize your peace costs less than your pain, you start making different choices. Get back. The ones that used to thrill you start to drain you. The ones who used to manipulate you stop having power because your healing has built immunity. You can't heal what you don't take responsibility for. Take it back. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about reclaiming your power. As long as you believe you're a victim of your circumstances, you'll keep repeating them. It back. But when you understand that you create your experiences through your beliefs and boundaries, everything changes. You stop saying, why do they treat me this way? And start asking, why do I keep allowing it? You realize that walking away isn't weakness. It's wisdom. And every time you choose yourself back, you rewire the pattern that once made you settle for less. Healing becomes your new attraction strategy and peace becomes your new normal. People think attraction is about looks, timing, or fate. It's not. Back. It's about energy. You can't expect to meet emotionally healthy people while you're operating from emotional scarcity. You attract people who match your level of self-respect, not your level of desire. Back. That's why the more you grow, the fewer people fit your life. Your energy upgrades before your relationships do, and that creates friction. But that discomfort is just growth pulling you forward, back. The people who once felt magnetic will start to feel heavy. The things that once triggered obsession will now trigger clarity. And that's how you know you're evolving, back. The transformation happens the moment you realize you're not cursed, you're conditioned. You're not attracting toxicity because you deserve it, but because you're still resonating with it, back. When you start choosing differently, the universe responds differently. Healing shifts your frequency. It makes you immune to manipulation because your peace can't be negotiated anymore. You stop chasing intensity and start craving alignment. You stop searching for someone to fix what only you can heal. And slowly, the kind of love you used to dream about starts to find you. Not because you chased it back, because you finally became it. You say you want peace, but you keep running back to chaos. You say you're tired of drama, yet you keep opening the door when it knocks. The truth is, back. You're not addicted to the person. You're addicted to the emotional roller coaster they bring. The highs, the lows, the rush of uncertainty. It's intoxicating. That adrenaline becomes your version of love. Back. Your nervous system confuses anxiety with excitement, and that's why calm feels uncomfortable. When someone treats you with consistency, it feels foreign, almost suspicious. You start wondering if something's missing, when in reality, nothing's wrong. You're just not used to peace. You've mistaken intensity for intimacy, and that's why you keep chasing the storm. Back. You learn to equate love with emotional unpredictability because it mirrored what you once called affection. Maybe it came from a parent who was loving one moment and distant the next. Back. Maybe it came from a past relationship where you had to fight for attention. Whatever the source, your body learned to feel safe in the chaos. So now, when someone offers you stability, you reject it. You tell yourself they're boring or that the spark isn't there, when the truth is your nervous system doesn't know how to function without crisis. You crave the drama because it keeps you in survival mode, back, and survival feels familiar. Healing feels unnatural when you've spent years mistaking pain for connection. The toxic cycle is chemical. Every argument, every makeup, every silent treatment, it all feeds your brain with dopamine, cortisol, and adrenaline. You get hooked on the unpredictable rhythm, and it becomes an addiction masked as love, back. That's why leaving feels like withdrawal. You don't just miss the person, you miss the emotional chaos that gave you a sense of purpose. You miss the intensity that made you feel alive, even though it drained you. It back. You tell yourself you can handle it, that it's not that bad, but deep down you know it's killing your peace. The chaos becomes your comfort zone, and the calm feels like emptiness. Back. But that emptiness isn't loneliness, it's detox. Detoxing from emotional chaos is brutal because peace feels boring at first. You start to mistake quiet for disconnection. Back. You think something's wrong because no one's yelling, no one's apologizing, no one's leaving. But that's what stability looks like. It's uneventful. It's not an adrenaline rush. It's emotional safety. Back. When you've lived in chaos long enough, peace feels like punishment. You crave the emotional roller coaster because it distracts you from sitting with yourself. Without drama, you're forced to face your silence, your pain, your insecurities. And that's uncomfortable. But discomfort is the doorway to healing. Peace isn't boring, it's just something your nervous system hasn't learned to enjoy yet. Back. Most people stay in toxic relationships not because they love the person, but because they love the pattern. The cycle of fighting and reconciling gives them a twisted sense of control. Back. You keep thinking the next apology will fix it, that the next promise will be real. You live for the moments of affection in between the chaos, convincing yourself that those flashes of tenderness mean change. But they never do. You end up clinging to potential instead of reality. You confuse endurance with loyalty and tolerance with love. You keep trying to heal in the same environment that broke you, forgetting that love isn't supposed to feel like survival. If it's costing you your peace, it's too expensive. Peace requires you to give up your addiction to unpredictability. It demands you stop romanticizing instability and start craving emotional consistency. But consistency doesn't feel like chemistry when you've only known chaos. It feels too still, too predictable, too safe, and that's exactly what you need. You've spent years chasing validation, trying to earn love by fixing broken people, thinking that if you could just prove your worth, they'd finally stay. Back. That's not love, that's trauma in disguise. The moment you stop needing chaos to feel alive is the moment you start attracting the kind of love that doesn't hurt to hold on to. Back. Peace stops feeling empty and starts feeling like home. The truth is, you can't heal what you keep feeding. You can't say you want change while entertaining the same behavior in different bodies. Every time you go back, you reinforce your attachment to dysfunction. Healing requires restraint. It requires saying no to the things that feel familiar but harm your growth. Back. It requires learning how to sit in discomfort without running back to what broke you. Back. The pattern doesn't end when you find a new person. It ends when you stop being the same version of you that tolerated what wasn't love. Back. You have to retrain your nervous system to see peace as passion and calm as comfort, not boredom. Breaking this cycle isn't about cutting people off. It's about cutting off the behaviors that keep you trapped. Back. It's about noticing your triggers before they become choices. It's about asking yourself why you crave chaos instead of stability. It's about realizing that no one else is coming to fix what only you can face. Every time you chase someone emotionally unavailable, you abandon yourself. Every time you settle for mixed signals, you send yourself a message that confusion is acceptable. Healing starts when you stop confusing, almost with enough. When you stop giving love to people who only love your availability, but not your depth. The version of you that keeps attracting toxicity isn't broken, they're unhealed. They're operating from survival, not self-worth. Once you start healing you'll stop craving emotional fireworks and start desiring emotional safety. You'll stop seeking validation from chaos and start finding peace and clarity. You'll notice red flags faster and stop making excuses for them. You'll realize that walking away isn't losing. It's choosing yourself over the addiction to pain. Healing doesn't make you cold, it makes you calm. And in that calm, you find the strength to build relationships that don't drain you but ground you. It takes courage to choose peace when chaos feels like home. It takes discipline to stay away from the people who trigger your wounds just because they feel familiar. But when you finally step out of that cycle, something shifts. You stop mistaking emotional instability for intensity. You stop craving the kind of love that costs you your sanity. You start attracting people who match your healed energy, not your trauma, And that's when you realize that the peace you once feared is actually the life you were always meant to live. Boundaries are not walls, they are filters. They don't exist to shut people out. They exist to protect your energy and your peace. But most of us were never taught that. We were taught that love means self-sacrifice, that kindness means never saying no, that being easygoing keeps people around. So we give too much, explain too much, and tolerate too much, hoping it will make us worthy of love. But all it does is teach others that our comfort is optional. The more you bend, the more people assume you'll never break. And eventually, you don't even recognize yourself. You just become a reflection of everyone else's expectations. Boundaries are not selfish, They are self-respect in action. When you start setting boundaries, you'll scare the people who benefited from you having none. They'll call you distant, difficult, or changed. And they'll be right. You have changed. You've stopped abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. You've stopped pretending everything's fine when it's not. You've stopped giving your time and energy to people who only show up when they need something. It's not about being harsh. It's about being honest. You can love people deeply and still say, I trust myself to take it back. This doesn't work for me anymore. You can care about someone and still protect your peace. The people who truly love you will adjust. The ones who don't were never meant to stay. The hardest part about boundaries isn't setting them. It's keeping them when guilt starts to creep in. Because guilt will whisper that you're being too harsh, too demanding, too closed off. But guilt is just a sign that you're doing something new, not something wrong. When you've spent years being available for everyone, saying no feels like betrayal. But every no you give to someone else is a yes to yourself. Boundaries teach people how to treat you, but more importantly, they teach you how to treat yourself. When you stop negotiating your limits, you stop attracting people who only value your compliance. You start attracting people who respect your clarity. People often confuse boundaries with control, but they're the opposite. Control says, I'll make you behave how I want. Boundaries say, I'll decide what I allow in my space. One is about domination, the other is about dignity. Boundaries don't demand that others change, they empower you to choose. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how long you allow it. You can't make someone respect you but you can refuse to participate in environments where you're disrespected. That's not cruelty, that's self-care. Every time you uphold a boundary, you remind yourself that your peace matters more than other people's comfort. And that shift changes everything. Sometimes you'll lose people when you set boundaries, and that will hurt deeply. You'll question yourself, wondering if maybe you were too firm or too cold. But what you'll realize is that boundaries don't push the right people away. They reveal who was only there because access to you was easy. When your energy becomes selective, your circle becomes smaller but stronger. You stop attracting people who drain you and start attracting people who respect the space you create. Losing people isn't the punishment. Keeping the wrong ones is. The moment you realize that peace feels better than attention, boundaries become non-negotiable. You stop chasing validation and start protecting your energy. The people who love you won't be threatened by your boundaries. They'll be grateful for them. Healthy people respect limits because they have their own. They don't demand endless access to your time or energy. They understand that no isn't rejection, it's honesty. You don't owe anyone constant availability. You owe yourself balance. Real relationships are built on mutual respect, not constant sacrifice. You'll notice that when you start enforcing boundaries, the dynamic shifts. Conversations get healthier, communication gets clearer, and the connection becomes more grounded. Boundaries aren't barriers to love. They're the structure that allows it to grow safely. Boundaries also teach you emotional discipline. When you have them, you stop reacting out of guilt or fear. You stop trying to fix everything and everyone. You start responding from clarity instead of chaos. You stop needing to prove your worth through overgiving. That you stop being afraid of people leaving when you assert yourself. You begin to understand that saying no doesn't make you difficult, it makes you defined. And people respect definition. Back. When you're clear on what you allow, you stop sending mixed signals to the world. You move differently, you speak differently. Back. And suddenly your energy starts attracting people who align with your peace instead of disrupting it. Boundaries aren't about perfection, they're about practice. You'll set them and slip up it back. You'll enforce them and second guess yourself. That's part of the process. You're unlearning years of conditioning that taught you to equate love with tolerance. Back. It takes time to believe that you can be kind and firm at the same time. It takes strength to realize that empathy without limits leads to exhaustion, not connection. Every time you hold your ground, even when it feels uncomfortable, you reprogram your self-worth. You start realizing that peace isn't something you ask for. It's something you enforce. And you stop apologizing for protecting it back. The most powerful boundary you'll ever set is internal, the one between your peace and your people-pleasing. You can't keep rescuing others at the cost of your own well-being. You can't keep absorbing pain that isn't yours to fix. You're not responsible for everyone's happiness, only your own. And that realization is freedom. Because once you stop trying to be everything for everyone, back, you have energy left to be something for yourself. You stop chasing relationships where your value depends on how much you give. You stop trying to earn love and start living from self-respect. Back, boundaries teach you that protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's sacred. When you finally understand boundaries, everything about your relationship shifts. Back, you no longer fear being alone because you trust yourself to create peace even in solitude. You stop trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop arguing your worth and start embodying it. Back, you stop begging for love and start choosing where it's safe to give it. Boundaries don't make you cold. They make you conscious. They separate what's healthy from what's harmful. Take it back. What's mutual from what's manipulative. They are how you declare to the world, I know who I am, I know what I deserve, and I'm not afraid to protect it. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to blame the narcissist, the liar, the manipulator, and everyone who hurt you. But healing starts when you stop pointing outward and start looking inward. Not to blame yourself, back, but to understand your part in the pattern. Every toxic relationship has two participants, one who takes advantage and one who allows it. The second part is hard to accept because it demands responsibility. Back. It means you have to admit that somewhere along the way you ignored the red flags. You saw the signs but hoped your love could change them. You tolerated behaviors that violated your boundaries because being needed felt like being loved. Responsibility isn't about guilt. It's about reclaiming your power to choose differently. When you start taking responsibility, everything changes. You stop asking, why did they treat me like that? And start asking, why did I stay? That's where the shift happens from victimhood to empowerment. You begin to see how your patterns are built on unhealed wounds. Maybe you feared abandonment, back, so you held on even when you were being disrespected. Maybe you craved validation so badly that you accepted crumbs and called it love. You begin to see that what you tolerated wasn't love. It was a reflection of your self-worth at the time. And when you know better, you do better. Responsibility isn't self-punishment, back. It's self-awareness in motion. It's the moment you stop reacting and start rewriting. Every toxic relationship acts as a mirror, showing you what's still unhealed inside of you. It reveals your triggers, your insecurities, your patterns of attachment. The people who hurt you are not your punishment. They are your teachers. They expose what needs attention, not what defines you. Hit back. When you look at the lessons instead of the losses, you start to understand that nothing was wasted. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal was pushing you toward growth. Pain becomes purpose when you stop resisting it. You start seeing that the people who broke you didn't end your story. They simply forced you to pick up the pen and write it yourself. Healing is not linear. Hit back. Some days you'll feel free, other days you'll feel like you've taken 10 steps back. That's normal. Healing isn't about forgetting the pain. It's about changing your relationship with it. It's about learning to respond instead of react. It's about building a version of you who no longer seeks closure from chaos. Back. You'll start to notice how your energy shifts. You'll crave less drama and more peace. You'll stop explaining your boundaries and start enforcing them quietly. You'll no longer be attracted to people who make you question your worth. Healing doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting your feelings control your decisions. Back. Taking responsibility doesn't mean letting people off the hook for what they did. It means freeing yourself from being chained to their actions. You can't heal if you're still waiting for an apology that may never come. Forgiveness isn't about excusing their behavior. It's about releasing your emotional debt. You forgive not because they deserve peace, but because you do. You stop letting the past dictate your present. You stop replaying old conversations, trying to change what's already done. Back. You realize closure isn't something you get from them. It's something you give yourself. You learn to move on not because they changed, but because you finally did. The more you heal, the less interested you become in proving your side of the story. You stop explaining your pain to people committed to misunderstanding it. You stop chasing validation from those who invalidated you. You realize that peace and pride can't coexist. You can't hold on to both. So you choose peace. You stop reacting to every trigger because not everything deserves a response back. You stop expecting the person who broke you to be the one who fixes you. The healing comes when you start showing up for yourself in all the ways others failed to. You become your own protector, your own comfort, back your own home. And that's what freedom feels like. When you take responsibility, you stop settling for emotional crumbs. You stop mistaking potential for partnership. You stop trying to heal others while neglecting yourself. You realize that love isn't about rescuing or repairing. It's about rising together. You start choosing people who match your healed energy back, not your old wounds. You begin to understand that it's not your job to convince anyone to treat you right. The love that's meant for you won't require begging, chasing, or proving. It will meet you with clarity back, not confusion. Responsibility transforms your standards. You stop asking, why do they do this? And start asking, why am I allowing this in my life? Self-awareness becomes your superpower. You start noticing patterns before they repeat. You start feeling peace where you once felt panic. You stop romanticizing inconsistency because stability no longer scares you. You realize that healthy love feels calm, not chaotic. It's predictable in the best way. Consistent, safe, and steady. And because you've done the work, that kind of love finally feels natural. You no longer mistake peace for boredom. You no longer need to chase what doesn't choose you. You're grounded in your worth, and that energy changes everything. You attract from a place of abundance, not emptiness, it back because you've filled yourself from within. Healing through responsibility is the most empowering journey you'll ever take. It's messy, lonely, and uncomfortable, but it's also liberating back. It's the moment you realize that no one is coming to save you. And that's the best news of all, because it means the power has been in your hands all along. You learn that self-respect isn't loud, it's quiet, steady, and unwavering. You stop seeking revenge and start seeking redemption within yourself. You stop surviving and start living. And one day, back, you'll look back at the version of you who tolerated so much pain just to feel loved, and you'll thank them. Because they're the reason you had to grow into the person you are now. Taking responsibility doesn't erase the past, but it rewrites your future. It teaches you that every ending is also an awakening. It back. It reminds you that peace doesn't come from changing others. It comes from changing your patterns. And when you do, your entire life realigns. The relationships you attract become softer back. The love you give becomes healthier, and the way you treat yourself becomes sacred. Healing is never about perfection. It's about progress. You may still stumble, but you'll never fall as far again. Because now, back, you know better. You know that you are the standard. You are the peace you've been searching for. And from that place, you finally attract love that doesn't hurt to hold.